Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're seeing this presentation. Today we'll be talking about the Texas home front during World War II, and I included a picture there of the USS Houston, which was sunk, and it was really a cute little boat. If you notice the biplanes on it, it was a scouting ship, and it got destroyed. So before we begin, don't forget, May 1st is Principal's Day, and we'd like you to send a little short video to Mrs. Reynolds. Send it to Miss Flores, and she's putting them all together for Mrs. Reynolds for May 1st. And there's 6-year-old Chuck telling you not to forget that you have a Google Meet Friday, May 1st at 2:30 p.m. on the Social Studies Google Meet. All right, so Texans helped out a lot during World War II. One thing they did was they had rationing, so items such as gasoline, sugar, shoes, coffee, and meat. When I talk to relatives, the thing they remember most was, well, they do remember the coffee, and they did remember the gasoline, but they remembered tires, that you couldn't just go in and buy a set of tires. And so people were putting inner tubes in their tires to make them last longer. You had to have a ration ticket for these items, and I provide you a picture of that. And this actually caused a food shortage in Beaumont because our population was growing so much. The other thing that you could buy war bonds, and when you cashed your war bonds in, you got a little bit of interest, and this provided money for the government. Now, let me tell you, in providing money for the government, you could buy these war bonds anywhere. So a lot of times you could buy them in the movies, and a lot of times people did buy them in the movies. And remember, everybody's gone back to work, so everybody's got money to spend, and not a lot to spend it on because there's rationing. Other ways Texans helped at home, well, many joined the Red Cross. Many Texans grew victory gardens. That's what you see at the top, the little poster at the top. So you would grow your own vegetables. Kids collected scrap iron, so that's the little kids in the middle there. And even kids collected pennies in Houston to rebuild the USS Houston after it was sunk. And there's the little plaque. It's on the Royal Scottish Bank, or the Bank of Scotland, that's downtown Houston. That used to be a movie theater many, many years ago before it was torn down. Um, Also, there were U-boats off the coast of, that's German submarines off the coast of Texas, off the coast of Galveston. Several ships got sunk. So the United States put gun placements in several places, and one of the places they put was Galveston. I showed this particular picture. This is called Fort Crockett. When I was a little boy, we used to play around this place in Galveston. And then later on, when I grew a little older, some guy bought it and actually had a snake pit in there. So you could, I guess, look at the snakes. But today it's just historically preserved. And Galveston also had blackouts too, so that the submarines couldn't see the ships so easily from the Texas coast. Well, the economic impact was enormous in Texas. We built ships, we built planes, we produced uniforms, we produced gear. The oil and gas production increased. In fact, it increased so much that at the end of World War II, we provided the oil and gas for half the nation. And everybody went to work. Women, everybody went to work. Nobody was a stay-at-home mom anymore. And so this ended the Great Depression. In fact, African Americans coming back from the war were kind of upset because there was still segregation going on. And so this is a picture of a riot that took place here in Beaumont. That's actually here in Beaumont. About 2,000 guys ran down to the African American side of Beaumont, which would be right around Washington Avenue, burned a lot of businesses, burned a lot of homes, and actually 200 African Americans died in that riot. Latinos, too, faced a lot of segregation before the war, and so when they came back from the war, they weren't too happy about the segregation they faced. So there's still discrimination in the South, but there's a real tearing point where a lot of people just aren't going to put up with it anymore. And then women also wanted equal pay for the jobs they did, as they got paid pretty good during the war. So, as we see the shipbuilding industry here in Beaumont, Texas, we want to ask you, what effects do you see today as a result of World War II? So, what do you think today is still present from World War II? And then the CNN question is, who was the last man to walk on the moon? Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.